Eagle on top, eagle on top. Every other plane is for bum ass losers. This is the good plane, the best plane ever made. It's the eagle, and there's a missile that just didn't hit the fucking target, and we just lost. Well, I lost radar lock because we're fighting a Grippin, and Yule fucking Grippy Poo is gonna be the bane of your fucking existence in this plane, and really everything's the bane of your existence in the F-15 because this is a plane that's good. It's good in RB, and this is a plane that'd be really good if it was added maybe about a year ago. And there's a couple of things that are wrong for this plane to actually be good in sim. Number one, it's the size of a school bus. It runs really hot, and the radar does not have the TWIS. It does not have the TWS. It does not track while scan, and the radar set itself is actually it's pretty mediocre at actually picking up targets and being able to track them effectively. Now, once it's locked onto something, it's just fine, but as far as a tool to contribute to situational awareness in this plane, it's just kind of not it for me. Like, in all honesty, flying the Eagle versus flying Yale F-16C, like, the F-16C is just a better plane for sim. Like, being able to look at your radar and kind of like ascertain that, oh yeah, there's people coming at me, as opposed to this shit where I got two bars right next to each other. I know they're coming at me because I can see them, but I don't have the HMD, I don't have TWS, and it means to shoot these 9Ms off, I have to either do it manually or I have to hard radar lock them. At the same time, this thing does carry 8 missiles. It carries 4 and 4 9Ms and 4 7Fs. The 7Fs they're okay, but they're not really as good as they used to be. So they're kind of they're situationally useful. Once guys go up, once guys get a little bit of altitude, they work fine. But on the deck, on deck running meta, on gripping fucking little rat plane meta, this plane is gonna be, it's fun to play. Like, I like the flight mode a lot, but there's also gonna be a lot of frustrations for most people that play this because you're a big, obvious target. You don't have the situational awareness tools, and your maneuverability is quite good. It's not anything to really write home about, but you have like a flight model that's really predictable. This is the second guy. We just basically reversed his ass. Bum-ass flanker is going back to hangar, and we just get another double kill. But on top of the situational awareness aspect, just like kind of like not being it, just being a big target is just kind of like another issue, and this kind of suffers from kind of F-14 syndrome. You know, in a lot of ways, the F-14 could be argued to be like a slightly better in-sim plane, but I mean, the F-14, the B model gets 9Ls, which are not 9Ms, and the M in the 9M stands for fucking meta or monkey, because really the 9M is just like the perfect missile for sim, and it's also like extremely obnoxious to fight. The other thing that's extremely obnoxious is the whole entire Grippin, because the Grippin comes in and he can just piss and shit flares for like a solid like 10 minutes, and you're not going to do anything against him. In all honesty, against the Grippin with the F-15 and against the Grippin against like anything, I have kind of resorted to just kind of killing them with guns, because most of these dudes that have went immediately for the Grippin, they're not flying it because they love the Swedish Air Force or whatever. They're just flying it because it's fucking bustedly good, which, I mean, more power to them, but it means that kind of like your meta in sim is just going to be really obnoxious. Now, what else does the Eagle do that's good? Really, it's hard to say. I can't really put my finger on it. It has like these really powerful engines. You can kind of just go up forever, but we're kind of at the point where 1-to-1 thrust to weight ratio is just kind of the norm now, where kind of everything can just point up and go up forever. So it's not really a utilizable like asset. At the same time, in bigger games, your F-15 is going to it's going to suffer, and you're going to have fucking little lead bullshit going off in the RWR at all times, and you really have to like take your head and like put it outside the airplane to actually see what's going on. We get another bum-ass Su-27, and he just Syrian lead turns in front of us. We're going to queue up the 7M, and this I think this is the shot that kind of shows like the 7M. It tracks, but this guy's not really dodging it, but he just kind of out energies it anyways. Like, the drag is bad, so we just follow up with another 7M, and the bum ass goes down, and we're just gonna kind of keep flying around. But overall, it's it's an okay plane. Like, I like it. I like the flight model a lot. I like fucking gunning people down with it, to be honest. Like, for me, I don't enjoy missile meta. I don't enjoy, like, top tier as far as, like, oh, yes, I got to kill with a missile. Like, really, in reality, the missiles are just a skill check for me. I really want to get to the merge. I really just want to gun a motherfucker down. And we're going to try that here, but we're going to kind of ignore what's going on behind us, and we're going to eat one of the missiles that we don't see, because we're tunnel visioned in on this guy, and we're like, okay, we're going to guide our missile, and we're there, and we died. And that's really going to be a lot of the top tier experiences. There's just too much going on. There's no real BVR meta right now. Like, you just fly to the deck, and if you go up, you're just kind of asking to be slammed with an R27 ER. So we're just gonna keep flying the fat pig around. And this plane's not really a fat pig. Like, it really does handle its weight well. And we get slammed with an ER again because we got more than 2 feet off the deck. As I said, that's going to be a lot of the top tier sim experience. And part of that is, like, you got to pay attention to the RWR. But at some point, like, that thing's going off all the time. You just kind of tune it out. And you tune it out the wrong time, you just die. So we go next. Same thing. We got MiG-29 to our front. We're gonna launch the 7M. And the 7M, as long as they're above the ground, it works okay, and it's pretty decent from rear aspect now as well. But more missile shots, more stuff. We got the rear aspect 7M, and we're gonna merge with another guy. And I think this is gonna be like an Su-27. I think most of the fights in this are Su-27s. A couple F-15s. Start off with a Jazz 39 fight, and really, I can't explain what to do in a dogfight with this thing, because most people in top tier sim are just, like, completely clueless. Like, they're just lobotomized. So, like, if you just have a good opening, you just kind of win. But we got the 7M, 7F, whatever the fuck it's going, and it kind of peters out. And we're gonna queue up the 9M here, and the 9M's really good in these, like, deflection shots here. As long as they're going from left to right or right to left, if they don't reverse their turn after flaring, that thing just connects. And that's why the 9M is just completely obnoxious and kind of dominates sim right now. It's like, yeah, you could counter it, but in order to counter it, you have to, like, be looking at the guy, knowing that he's going to launch at you, and then, like, pre-flare. And a lot of times it just, like, if you have the bad aspect, if you were already started your turn to try to remerge with the guy, you just lose. And it's, goddamn, it's not fun. It's not a fun thing to fight against. Same thing there. 73. I should have seen that coming, but that missile kind of sat in the blind spot of, like, where the mirror was formed. I didn't see it, and I didn't pre-flare enough. And because this thing runs pretty hot, you got to do a lot of pre-flaring. You got to cut that burner too. Same thing here. We got the radar. We're gonna try to hit this guy with one of our radar missiles. And pretty sure that the boom we heard in the background is the 7M exploding. This thing loses lock and then it explodes. So usually having 4 of them, I really just treat them as a double. Another one misses. That's kind of to be expected. He's chaffing, but we just follow up with the 9M. And because he's going from right to left, because we got that good lead on him, it just hits. It just hits. And really, in reality, your heat-seeking missiles are going to be doing the majority of your work in this plane. The 7Fs, the 7Ms, they're there, but it's almost worth it to just not take them, so you're not even tempted to really worry about them. Same thing. This is another bum Su-27. Does the same exact thing, the same exact, just like lead turns in front, and he's just going to run himself out of energy. And the 27 flight model, it's good so far. It's pretty usable. I'm going to do a video on it eventually, but I'm still waiting for potentially some adjustments to take place. That and Eagle on top, baby. And we get another engagement. And this is really the only thing that your 7Fs are good for, is forcing the other guy to the deck. It's also just a good missile for punishing people for going up. We're going to pre-flare. We pre-flare the 73. Same thing. Mergey merge. And we don't have good dogfight missile. Usually on the second turn, though, I will go into ACM mode if I can, and if he gives me enough space, I'll just shoot a radar missile in his face. But right there, we dodge the 73 aspect. It goes just outside of us. And while we have lost our speed, the one thing this plane's actually really good at is recovering its speed almost instantly. So if you over AOA, if you run out of energy, you can kind of like run out of energy at just the right time, pull into the guy, and then just relax on the stick and just recover it. So it's actually pretty neat. This guy here with the 27, if he gets a good HMD shot on you, it's kind of over. So flying around the 27, flying around HMD is can be difficult. At the same time, most of these guys do run out of energy really quickly, and it means that when you follow in them for a gunshot, I mean, my plane's the size of a bus. His plane's the size of a small condominium. Like, the thing is like absolutely ginormously huge. So it's actually a pretty easy dogfight. Unlike the Gripen, which is more maneuverable, obnoxiously small, and kind of just shits flares all over the place. So you can't like do it. You can't do anything against the Gripen most of the time. It like actually sucks. But or at least for most players, like usually you can take advantage of them not being good in the first turn or two, because most of the time they come in at Mach 1.2, and then they're kind of compressed for the first turn. You can kind of get an advantage there, but most of the time, Gripen, if he knows what he's doing, you're just kind of into the cope zone right now. Now, eventually, maybe in 2-3 weeks from now, the Gripen flight model will be completely nerfed into the ground, because the engine thrust and the drag and the everything, because a lot of people are coping about the Gripen, which to be fair is like something that you should cope about, because like that flight model was added in a state that wasn't finished, and even in its current state is still arguably better than the F-16A in kind of like every aspect. And there's at least credible information that says that the engine performance of the Gripen, especially at higher speeds, is like overperforming by like a pretty decent margin. So it'll probably get changed in the future. I'm not hoping for the Gripen to like go into like the state of being complete dog shit, but I at least want it to be like in a state that's like where there's like a little bit of play and counterplay to it. And the same thing can be said about like the way the F-16C was in the last patch. Like there was some counterplay, but the counterplay was extremely situational, where you're basically relying on the other guy not having any kind of thumbs. And there's another thing that's going to happen. Your RWR, it kind of shut off there. I think a lot of stuff is maybe I was like, oh yeah, it's the RWR blind spot that's at 57 degrees aft or whatever, but stuff like that happens all the time. Like relying on the systems in the plane, because Sim is just kind of like an unfinished game mode anyways, is sometimes just doesn't work out for you nearly as well. This is going to be the same guy, F-15. We get the 9M off, and that's really going to be like the majority of your 9M kills, is just like people that they don't pre-flare, so they don't see it coming, or you just third-party people from the side. It's identical to the F-16. Like really just strap a bunch of 9Ms on something. Now it's the meta machine. Like really, in all honesty, like give me an A-10C and slap double 9Ms on every single pylon. Give it 16 9Ms, and that would be the best fighter in Sim. Like in all honesty. Same thing. This guy pre-flared, but he gave up a bunch of position. And this is one of the things I really like about this plane, though, is it has like a gun sight that actually does pretty good. Like the radar lead gun sight seems to be pretty accurate, and the gun has a lot of ammo. And we're gonna sit behind this guy, and we got eagle on eagle violence here, and we also have F-14 probably spamming missiles and gonna fucking team kill me. But that radar sight though, that radar sight's pretty good. So in all honesty, the plane would have been a lot better a year ago. The plane would have been a lot better like in a different meta. Like I really wish that we didn't have 9M and R-73 in the current state that they are. Mainly 9M, arguably 73 would probably be a little bit too good in its current form if 9M didn't exist. But in reality, like top tier is just such a fucking clusterfuck right now that like I'm playing it, but holy fuck, is my mental is destroyed, man. Like I just want a top tier game mode where everyone has to use guns or something, like, or technologically limited, because as the missile technology increases, the game's going to get very very one note and very probably more chaotic than it already is. Anyways, that's the video. Like and subscribe.